Welcome, I'll be reviewing Star Trek What If? Sorry, I mean Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 10. Also, stay tuned for my thoughts on Balance of Terror at the end. This was just my running reaction as I was watching the episode. More cooking and Winona. I should really learn the name of her character on Star Trek. I can't stop thinking of her as Winona Earp, so she's just Captain Winona. I hope these two had an open relationship though, because otherwise the incident earlier in this season might be a little bit awkward. I hope that he told her. These two are really cute together. I'm glad that they got a moment, but I really wanted to know more, especially some kind of a throwaway about what Pike was doing on that planet. You all know what I'm talking about. Supply chain problems. I know the feeling. This was timely. Oh no, Ma'at is one of the future cadets that Pike cannot save? Ooh, no wonder the captain looked so haunted. Now he has to decide, should I dissuade that kid from joining Starfleet, saving his life? Honestly, I'm not sure what I would do in Pike's situation. To write the letter or not to write that letter. Is this time travel or self-imposed hallucination to assist him with the decision? Either way, it was great to see that red movie uniform again. It was impressive that Pike did not immediately believe his future self. He definitely grilled him a bit and was like, what about this? What about that? Do you know about this? To really ensure he was talking to himself and it wasn't just some alien impersonating future Pike. Sometimes on sci-fi shows, characters can be a little bit too easily trusting. Oh no, more crystals! What is he going to see this time? Poor Pike dropped into the middle of a wedding with no idea who anyone is. I really liked that orange bouquet though. I have never seen anyone that relieved to hear a red alert. He was like, oh thank goodness. It was good to see Uhura at her future post with her trademark green hoop earrings. I loved that touch from the costume department. In fact, it was so distracting because I was looking at Uhura's earrings that it took me a minute to figure out what was going on. And that's when I heard, Outpost 4 is under attack. And I was like, wait, is this Balance of Terror? I have not watched that in a while. I recall they had a lengthy chase sequence going on with the Romulans. And that's when they found out the Romulans were related to the Vulcans. And that was like a huge, everyone was freaking out. And it had that great music. They are officially going for it. This is so surreal. And now Kirk is here? I don't think the Farragut was in the original. Kirk Pike team up. Also, Vampire Diaries is a great version of him. Then again, I am very biased as a fan. Speaking of which, I kind of want to see a Klaus versus Gorn battle. Any other Vampire Diaries fans? Klaus versus Gorn? Just me? Okay. Pike was like, Sam's brother? Imagine thinking of the Kirk that way. It was so funny. Next time I ask someone who their favorite Star Trek captain is and they respond, James T. Kirk, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, Sam's brother, just to watch their reaction. It was so adorable how Spock and Kirk had that mini bromance together. And I really like how they're weaving the two storylines together. For example, Kirk was suggesting that whole mirroring maneuver to make their ship look like a reflection, because I think he did that in the original. And here we go, the moment of truth when they see the Romulans. They even have the music going. I had chills during this scene when they zoomed in on Spock and he was like, and they had the music. It was so dramatic. In the original, I think the Navigator was the one who had issues with Spock. So does this mean Ortegas will be taking that role? I feel like she's better than that. But then she started reacting kind of badly to Spock. And now I'm worried. Weakness is something we dare not show. Spock has a good point here, and Ortegas jumped right in to support him. So fingers crossed it's going to be okay between them. I remember the comet part from the original as well. It's cool how we were really closely following the storyline, at least from the tidbits that I recall. Oh no! Is this the future where Kirk is killed and that's what causes the chain reaction of the timeline? That was a huge explosion. Wait, no. Apparently, miraculously, he's okay. He is a vampire in this version. This episode is not as drama-driven, but it is getting to be just as intense. I'm loving the what-if aspect. La'an is back! Oh, what a relief. But Una's missing? And not allowed to make contact? And then what was that? Does La'an have a thing with Pike? That was a really strange interaction. I need to know more. Oh no. Una was sent to a penal colony. For being an augment. Yikes. I wonder if we'll get to see that play out on screen in the future. And now that Pike knows what's coming, will he be able to do anything about it? Oh, look, Kirk is totally going off book on his own, as usual, to save the day. Nice to see him in character. We got Scotty's arm. And I'm an engineer, not a miracle worker. I figured he would be around in the future. I was kind of hoping we wouldn't get scenes of him this early, but because this is a timeline in the future and not like 2 seconds after Hemmer, I'm okay with it. This was a really fun workaround. Give us a little tidbit without upsetting Hemmer fans too much, because we are still recovering from... I miss Hemmer. Another thing that they're keeping in parallel with the original is how reasonable and intriguing the Romulan captain is, along with his really brash sub-commander who keeps getting them into trouble. I think the Centurion is missing, though. I don't think they put him into this version. But I like that overall they kept the dynamic on the Romulan ship anyway. This escalated quickly. It was a fantastic plan bringing those mining ships over as the fleet. It was such a Kirk move. And dare I say, original plan. Sorry, last Vampire Diaries reference, I promise. I'm pretty sure I've drained them all dry. I'm not going to be coughing up anymore. I'm sorry, Pike is a bad influence. Pike and the Romulan captain still got that moment of, I regret that we met in this way. I think it was almost word for word from the original. I would need to rewatch it to make sure. And he simply accepted his fate, hoping it would bring about a peaceful solution. He's just as awesome, I think, in this scenario as the original. Oh no! I think Kirk is sacrificing himself for the Enterprise. I mean, again, so in character for him. But no! Wait, he got out again. I swear, that man has 999 lives. Thank goodness. Alas, the war came anyway. And this time, the Romulans think the Federation are easy targets because of the way they've been acting under Pike. It was really an interesting camera angle, the way they were following the captain around sickbay, seeing all those casualties, showing how horrified he was. And then they panned over to Spock. Christine, barely holding it together, just watching her friend die. They're doing this to us twice in a row. Thanks a lot, Strange New Worlds. Even knowing that probably this timeline will be erased, it was tough to watch. So many people were just gone, including Spock, because Kirk was not in that command chair. And now I understand why Pike truly accepts his fate, because how could he do otherwise after seeing this? You could see him realize what he has to do. One life for millions, for Spock, who he really cares about clearly. You can see it on this show. And when we went back to him in the present, we all knew what he was going to do. I said, "Computer, delete file," on that letter, long before he did on the screen. At least he has clear focus now. He won't be trying to avoid his fate anymore or looking for a loophole. A lot of fans had speculated, will he somehow avoid it? Will canon be changed on this show? And this episode was the answer. A resounding no, it's going to happen, as we've seen. This was a big step forward for him. These two had me almost crying again. It was such a beautiful scene together. You could feel how much they cared about each other. And now I understand why, when Pike reached out for help later on, Spock risked his entire career to help. No questions asked, just, I'm there, sir, I'm there. And Pike looked almost happy at the end, way more settled than he has been. I think he was so grateful to see his people safe and sound, and he has a path forward. Oh no, they're here for Una already. I thought we had a couple more seasons to go. Why are they doing this now? I like her. Oh no, and his girlfriend is the one who has to take her in? Yikes. And you can see how torn up she is about it. And she's like, I am so sorry. I'm sorry. This is my job. What a way to end season 1. Classic Star Trek cliffhanger. I loved it. The perfect ending. Paramount Plus did get one thing wrong though, and that is at the very end, before the credits, or after the credits, they should have had a huge link that said, click here to watch Balance of Terror. Because the first thing I did was went over to watch it. So here are my thoughts on that. I had totally forgotten that it started with a wedding. They really did match this exactly. Strange New Worlds had a better bouquet though. Okay, the bride from earlier is a weapons specialist. Can I marry her? She is so adorable. I just want to take her home. This scene with Hansen is pretty much word for word, I think. Can you see it? My command post, we're a mile deep, everything. I think parts of this you can watch side by side, almost shot for shot. Whoa, they even did makeup on the Romulans to look exactly like Spock with that touch of blue eyeshadow. No wonder Styles was like, Spock is a spy. And there was a great moment from Kirk here, calling him out on it. Not on my bridge. You do not disrespect Spock here. It was interesting to see everyone's reactions. Uhura and Kirk were surprised, but then they instantly were like, Spock, we trust you, we're here for you, we know that you're not connected. I forgot how long Kirk ruminated on what to do before truly going after the Romulans. You can see him asking for advice, really weighing the best course of action before he makes that decision. To attack or not to attack, that is the question. There were similar roles on Strange New Worlds. I'm pretty sure Spock kept word for word with this version of what he was saying. We're starting to see Kirk changing the tactics here. His reaction to the Romulans not showing up in the comment was boom, fire blindly towards where they were most likely to be present, instantly catching them while cloaked. He had zero hesitation here. As he pointed out in Strange New Worlds, when he was like, Pike, you paused. That's why they got us. And Pike was like, yeah, well, you lost your ship, so... But you can see in this version, he was right. Kirk would have just gone after them. And that was Pike's flaw in this particular situation. As a result, the Romulans were forced to decloak and reveal themselves, giving the Enterprise even more time to run and get out of range of that weapon. Kirk immediately took the opportunity to put the Romulans back on the defensive. He came back after them, still firing as often as possible. He was hammering them as they attempted to flee into the neutral zone. He likes to be in the position of, I am on the offensive, whereas Pike throughout this was like, I'm going to stay on the defensive. And you could really see the difference here at this point in the episode. The Kirk version turns more into a captain versus captain battle of tactics and will. And the reason I think the Enterprise won is because the crew on board the Enterprise implicitly trusted their captain and respected Kirk. Whereas on the Romulan ship, the captain was constantly being undermined by his people and wasn't able to do the things that he needed to get done as a result. I really loved this quick Uhura scene that ties in with Strange New Worlds. Styles needed to run off to help in weapons control, so Kirk turned around and was like, Uhura, come handle navigation. Earlier, we got to see her as an ensign, trying out all the various roles. so she could be familiar with the main stations. And here we get to see that experience being put into practical use. She was able to jump between bridge stations at a moment's notice, completely competent. Another interesting difference between the captains here. Spock was like, perhaps we should stop for repairs. Kirk immediately said, no, we don't have time. We need to go back on the offensive. Let me analyze the tactical situation. We need a new plan of attack. Pike, on the other hand, was like, yeah, we should do repairs. Let's stop for a couple of hours. In fact, I'll go talk to the Romulans. I bet they need to do repairs too. Let's reach out. Little olive branch here. We can both do repairs. Massive difference between the captains. Kirk is relentless. Pike is compassionate. And there's nothing wrong or right about either of them. It's just two very different command styles. And against Romulans, we needed Kirk. I just love Uhura. There's no other reason for this screenshot. They had just taken out the Romulans, and she's like, yeah, we did that. Here again, we have the famous scene with the offer to give transportation to the Romulans. In a different reality, I could have called you friend. I'm not sure which version here I prefer. They are very different. But I have a lot of respect for this captain, regardless. Oh no, the guy from the opening wedding didn't make it? That is so tragic. In this version, there is only one casualty, not an entire sickbay full. But the one is the groom. Oh. I would say I prefer the original Trek version. I think it was way more dramatic, engaging, and tense. And it had some absolutely outstanding performances. That being said, I really enjoyed the Strange New Worlds version. Not just because it was fun to compare the two, but also watching Pike's struggle as he was trying to decide what to do and whether or not to accept his fate, I thought was an extra layer to Strange New Worlds. It was really interesting. I'm looking forward to season 2 now. I think they just wrapped filming it. If it's even half as good as season 1, I will love it. Live long and prosper.